Hello everybody, welcome to Bad Bit Games. I'm your host Joseph. It is here where we talk about all things games news, and today we're talking about PlayStation officially calling it quits for E3 2020. That's right, PlayStation is skipping E3. What that means for the PlayStation 5's launch in the future of E3, well, let's find out. So with all that said, with all that out of the way, Future Joe, start the show. It's official. PlayStation is yet again skipping E3 for the second time in a row. This news came out really weird. It was a rumor for the last few days that Sony was going to skip E3 2020, and then all of a sudden we got news that Sony execs were flying into California, into the headquarters, to kind of lay out the battle plan for the PlayStation 5's launch. And while they were doing that, they sent a statement to the ESA, the owners, the runners of E3, that stated the following: after thorough evaluation, SIE has decided not to participate in E3 2020, said a Sony Interactive Entertainment spokesperson. We have a great respect for the ESA as an organization, but we do not feel the vision of E3 2020 is the right venue for what we are focused on this year. We will build upon our global event strategy in 2020 by participating in hundreds of consumer events across the globe. Our focus is on making sure fans feel a part of the PlayStation family and have access to play their favorite content. We have a fantastic lineup of titles coming to the PlayStation 4, and with the upcoming launch of the PlayStation 5, we are truly looking forward to a year of celebration with our fans. So there you have it. Sony is out of E3 2020, and maybe even for good. It's 2 years in a row that Sony is opting out of the event entirely. And it's weird. I'm of two minds of this. First, link down below to the article because they did all the heavy lifting. But for me, as a gamer who's sat through conference after conference year after year, I know the nostalgic side of me says that this sucks. Like, I remember as a kid, because I'm this much of a dork, I would go to G4, right? I would just plan out my week with Spike TV and just watch all these conferences. And to us as gamers, as the hardcore gamers, this was our Super Bowl, right? Like, this was our thing. And I mean, minus the football, unless you're EA, then that's all you kind of got. It was just commercial after commercial hyping you up with these moments in between of just pure genuine joy. Like, the developers that are on stage, you have these brief moments of just passion, of like people crying on stage because their dream, their hard work, they're showing it for the first time to the world. And there's a beauty in that. I mean, for me, I'm so much of a dork that I'll watch it every now and again. You know, the Sony E3 2013, where they were on stage after the awful Xbox announcement, and they dropped bomb after bomb after bomb and laid out what the future of this generation would look like, and it is the majority of it being PlayStation. It's awesome. Like, those moments are what we as gamers will miss from Sony being out of the event. But then there's another part of me, the grown-up cynical Joe, who says, good, let the past die, kill it if you have to. The ESA, the people that host this event, from what I've heard throughout the grapevine, is that they're genuinely so disorganized and so awful. We've seen that through the data leaks, right? Last year they leaked everybody's information. I mean, everything out into the dark web. How do you let that happen? There are sections of the ESA that want E3 to be the Comic-Con of games, right? Where it's just a fan event. And that's what Sony and even EA want out of E3, is for it to be for the fans. And then there's the other side that want it to be for the stakeholders, for the investors, for the insiders. And there's just such a divide. You even see it through E3's existence. Them going public, them going private, public, private, now super consumeristic. They're just all over the place, and it's totally disorganized, and now the public's starting to actually see it. So now if I'm Sony, I gotta look at it through their perspective, and it's about controlling a narrative. You're having Xbox being really bold, being really brave with the tech that they have right now. That's a fierce opponent, and you want to make sure that your console has the most clearest message out there. So I'm looking at my peers and seeing who does it right and who does it wrong, and I immediately think of Apple. Like, we know every September, in the beginning of September, there'll be a iPhone event, and they'll announce an iPhone with like 6 cameras this time, and people will go out in droves to buy this dumb iPhone that is totally overpriced because Tim Cook told you to, because they were able to, at one event, have a clear, concise message, bring the creators that they want to bring at that event, bring the industry people that they want to bring at that event in a totally controlled environment that's completely theirs. There is no mismessaging. That's what Sony really wants. They don't want any errors on screen. They don't want any demos to die. They don't want any characters to awkwardly stand in place. They want to completely control the messaging without any other news happening that week, because that is way more powerful. And let's be honest, Sony did the metrics on this, right? They showed us all these state of plays. They ran the social media accounts, and it looks like through the analytics, it showed that people were far more interested, whether we like the event or not, in the state of play events that they were at E3. And even when Sony's gone, it's shown, it's proven, people are still tweeting about PlayStation at E3. So there is no harm, there is no foul by trying to check on your own. And maybe perhaps that means we're going to see PlayStation 5s at more fan events. Like, maybe we get to see it at PAX East, maybe we get to see it at PAX West. Hey, even they talked about making pop-up events in various places around the globe. That's really awesome. I mean, there's a pop-up event right now in New York City going through the month of February where people can go and just experience the latest and greatest in all things PlayStation. That's awesome. And that gets me excited as a smaller creator, being able to not just watch an announcement on a screen of somewhere thousands of miles away. I could just take a train ride to New York City and I'm there and I'm able to hold a PlayStation 5 in the palm of my hands. That is, I think, what PlayStation's trying to get here, is at a more grassroots movement and a more authentic movement that surrounds their fans, around their history of PlayStation. So for me, I come out far more positive than I am negative. I am gonna miss their presence at E3, but I'm not saying that this is the worst move ever, because honestly, it worked last year. Why can't it work again? I don't know. But I would like to see them have both, but I know if, Sony shows the same sizzle reel at E3, everybody's just gonna bitch and complain. So it is what it is. I want to know, though, your thoughts down in the comments below. Are you going to miss them at E3? Do you think E3 is a dud? What are your thoughts down below? I'm genuinely interested. There is no wrong answers because we haven't seen what Sony's got yet. So with all that said, with all that out of the way, if you want some next-gen news, reviews, and all that jazz, please, please, please hit like, share, subscribe. It helps me out, grows this big, beautiful family that I call home. And with all that said, and with all that out of the way, everybody, keep your wits about you and have a nice one.